This depends on the stability in the society, but also on his age. He will die soon, that's a fact. Everything will be over. I mean, the question about him, all may end before his. So to say, absolutely safe and unsuccessful historic life ends. This is what he is afraid of.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said this in an explosive French television interview on Wednesday. That very evening, French President Emmanuel Macron proposed a European armed force for possible deployment in Ukraine in tandem with an eventual peace deal that could respond to a Russian attack if Moscow launched one.
So we are not on the front lines. We don't go to fight, but we are there to guarantee a lasting peace. It's a pacifist approach, and the only ones who would, at that moment, trigger a conflict would be the Russians if they decided again to launch an aggression. This is the strict framework that we are moving forward with. It's a Franco-British text. A great deal of work has been done by the chiefs of staff in London and Paris, and we are going to continue this work. That's the clarification between these different missions.
Russia accused France and Britain of hatching plans for military intervention in Ukraine under the guise of a peacekeeping mission.
Couple of words on what the West calls a peace mission. In fact, it is de facto a military intervention in Ukraine under the guise of a peacekeeping mission. London and Paris continue to hatch a plan of military intervention in Ukraine. All of this is disguised under some peace mission. I would like to draw your attention one more time to the fact that Russia is strongly against such a scenario that creates a risk of a direct clash between Russia and NATO.
On Thursday, Ukraine allies met in Paris with new aid and security assurances in mind. 30 world leaders, including NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Germany's outgoing Chancellor Olaf Scholz, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, met in the third summit of what France and Britain have called the Coalition of the Willing. Though America is not present, France says the summit's outcomes will be shared with the US administration. As the war in Ukraine continues, despite ceasefire on energy sources, Europe is preparing itself for the worst. The European Commission on Wednesday said that the bloc should enhance stockpiling of critical equipment and encourage its people to maintain sufficient supplies for at least 72 hours in case of emergencies like geopolitical crises, including the possibility of armed aggression against EU countries.